My name is Robert, and I've always believed in doing right by my family. I worked hard all my life building a small construction business from nothing, putting in long hours so my kids could have better opportunities than I did. I thought that when they grew up, they would carry themselves with the same respect, integrity, and understanding I tried to teach. But sometimes life teaches you lessons in ways you never expect. It all started one summer afternoon. I had just returned from a long day at a job site, tired and ready to relax with a cup of tea in my study. My phone buzzed with a message from my daughter Emily. She was married to Mark, a man I had tried to get along with for years but had always felt he didn't entirely respect me or my family. I opened the message expecting a routine hello. Instead, it was a request that made my chest tighten. "Dad, can you come over? Mark wants to discuss some finances with you." I frowned. Mark had always had a taste for shortcuts and borrowing from anyone he could. Something about this felt off. I replied, asking if it was urgent. Emily texted back quickly. "He says it's really important. Please come." I drove to their house, a modest suburban home just 20 minutes away, and parked in the driveway, taking a deep breath before walking to the door. Mark answered almost immediately. He was leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed, wearing that smug expression he always wore when he thought he had the upper hand. "Hey, Dad," he said, voice casual but firm. "Come in." I stepped inside and was met with the smell of leftover breakfast and the faint hum of the TV. Emily was in the kitchen, her face tight with unease. I shook her hand quickly, then focused on Mark. "So what's so important?" I asked. Mark didn't waste time. "I'm in some financial trouble," he said bluntly. "I have some debts that need covering, and I need you to help me out." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," he continued. "You've been working hard all these years, and you have the means. It's time you helped your family, me specifically. Pay off my debts and everything will be sorted." I felt my blood boil. This wasn't just a request, it was a demand. He had the audacity to treat me like an ATM instead of a father-in-law. I glanced at Emily, hoping she would step in, but she just looked down at the counter, her hands fidgeting nervously. I realized quickly that she had become passive in this situation. Either afraid of conflict with Mark or unsure how to intervene, I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. "Mark," I said, my voice measured but firm, "I didn't raise my daughter to marry someone who disrespects family like this. You're asking me to pay your debts because it's convenient for you, not because it's fair, responsible, or right." He smirked. "Come on, Dad, don't make this personal. It's just money. You've got it. Use it for your family?" I shook my head. "No, that's not how I operate. But I can give you something else instead. Something far more valuable than money." Mark's eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a small envelope. Inside were carefully written notes, a ledger of every penny I had ever lent him, every favor I had done to help him along the way. Each note included the dates, the amounts, and even reminders of the lessons I had tried to teach him about responsibility. "This," I said, placing the envelope on the counter, "is your debt. Not just the money you owe me, but the accountability you've avoided your entire life. I'm giving it back to you, not in cash, but in honesty. Because one day you'll realize that true wealth isn't measured by money, it's measured by respect, integrity, and how you treat the people who care about you." Mark laughed nervously. "This is a joke, right? You're not serious." I leaned in, calm but unyielding. "I'm dead serious. You wanted a solution. I gave you one. Not a check, not a handout, but a mirror. Look in it, Mark. See what your actions have done to your family. See what it means to rely on others instead of building your own path. This is your responsibility." Emily finally spoke up, her voice trembling slightly. "Dad, maybe we should just, I don't know, give him some money?" I looked at her and shook my head. "Emily, this isn't about punishment. This is about teaching him to be accountable. He doesn't need a gift, he needs a lesson. And sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that hit closest to home." Mark's smirk faded. He reached for the envelope, but I stopped him with a gentle hand on his arm. Read it when you're alone. Think about every choice you've made, every corner you've cut, every time you've demanded rather than earned. That's what I'm giving you. I turned to Emily, placing a hand on her shoulder. I love you and I'll always support you. But I won't enable someone who disrespects the values I've tried to instill. That includes your husband. Mark's jaw tightened. You're making a big mistake, Robert. I smiled, almost pitying him. No, Mark, the mistake would have been paying your debts for you and teaching you that it's okay to take advantage of people who care. This way, you learn or you don't, the choice is yours. I left their house that day feeling a mixture of relief and apprehension. I wasn't sure how Mark would react once he read the envelope, but I knew one thing. I had set a boundary. I had protected my dignity, my daughter, and the principle that family isn't about blind compliance or financial exploitation, it's about respect. 2 days later, Emily called. Dad? He read the envelope. Her voice was soft but charged with emotion. And I think he's finally starting to understand. He's not happy about it, but he's thinking. He asked if you'd sit down and talk with him, alone. I agreed. Later that afternoon, I returned to their house. This time, the tension was palpable, but it was different. He looked hesitant, uncertain. Robert? He started. I nodded. Mark, I hope you've read what I left for you. He swallowed, avoiding my eyes. I have, and I think I get it. I've been taking the easy way out for years. I thought money would fix things, but I can see now that I've been pushing my wife and her family away. I'm sorry. I really am. I felt the weight in my chest lift slightly. Acknowledgement is the first step. You can't change the past, but you can start now. Show Emily you respect her, respect our family, and respect yourself enough to make better choices. He nodded, slowly, earnestly. I will, I promise. From that day on, things began to shift. Mark started taking responsibility for his own debts, managing his finances more carefully, and most importantly, treating Emily and me with the respect I had hoped for all along. It wasn't instantaneous, and it wasn't perfect. But the change was real. That experience taught me something profound. Sometimes, the best way to respond isn't with anger or money, but with principle, patience, and a quiet strength that demands accountability. I didn't give him what he wanted, I gave him what he needed, and in the long run, that was far more valuable than any sum of money could ever be. Now, when I visit Emily and Mark, the tension that used to hang in the air has lifted. Conversations are honest, responsibilities are shared, and respect is at the foundation of our family interactions. And I know that on that summer day, when I chose to give a ledger instead of a check, I set the course for a healthier, stronger, and more respectful family, one that honors effort, integrity, and love above all else.